Good afternoon. Today I'm going to demonstrate version 1.05 of the Inkjet Recipe software. We're going to use a new file which has a couple of additional issues that require new functions. First of all, if you highlight one section here, you see that it's actually an MINSERT. And the problem with MINSERTs is that AutoCAD does not support the command to explode them. If you try to explode that and select it, it says none found and it doesn't get exploded. It forces us to create our own exploder for MINSERTs. The second issue with this particular thing is that these outlines are not a single outline. They're actually made from multiple zero-width polylines, and they consist of overlapping pieces. The algorithm to simply select the outside or inside will first require additional processing. We'll start by going to Inkjet Recipe and we'll say explode nested blocks. This actually takes a while because there are over 10,000 block definitions in this drawing. It takes a few seconds to get them all. So we've exploded all of these 10,000 blocks. Now I'm going to turn off the layers that I don't care about. Data that we care about are on layer 10 and 7. 7 has the alignment marks and 10 has the actual boundaries. You'll see now if we zoom in and we click on something here, we now have a polyline as opposed to the MINSERT block. You can see that the frame is built up of multiple overlapping polylines. That'll have to be dealt with in another module. You can also see there's a inside region, outside region, and an empty region in between. So the next step would be line linker. However, we don't need to do that because these are already closed polylines. I'm going to skip the de-embed and I'm going to go straight to polyunion, which will combine all these overlapping polylines into a single one. So I'll select polyunion, and now I'll select the objects I want to unionize and hit enter, and it's going to put the unionize on the layer called ACS polyunion, and we'll work on that from now on. Alright, so they've all been unionized, and if we look again at the same location where before there was a break around here, you see it's all been combined into one piece. This is from the original layer where the break was, and the white is the new layer. So we're going to turn the original layer off, L10. So what's the next step? The next step would be to define our glass. We'll say that this is 800,000 wide and 500,000 tall. We want a DPI of 2500. The units are in microns. Next step will be to define the alignment mark. And now we're going to zoom into this area here. There's several. I'm going to use this nearest one. And I want to snap to the intersection of that point, so I type in int, and now it will snap to there. So that's my reference. So my next step is to define the master cell. Now I have a choice here. I can select either the outer perimeter of the master cell or the inner perimeter. If we wanted to select the outer perimeter, we would select this polygon. If we want to select the inner perimeter, we would select that polygon. We'll just select the outer one and click OK. So that's our master cell. Now we're going to go to find matching cells. It's asking me to select the window to look at, and I'll start there and select there and click OK. So it found 18 cells. So why didn't it find these cells here? It's because these are actually different. Notice this little square, how it's offset to the outside. Now look at the square down here. It's not offset, it's centered. So these two outer boundaries aren't the same, and our program recognized that they're not the same, and so it didn't include these bottom row in the group that matched the master cell. If I'd have picked this as the master cell, I would have gotten all of these guys and none of those. Right, now that we've got our master cell, we can define our halftone parameters, where these have to be in the same units as the data. And now I can export the bitmap. Call it cadrectangle.bimp. And now if we want to export our PDF, we can do that. And finally, we can export our recipe file. And let's view our recipe file. We can see that the first section is glass. It gives us the head scan. Now here's all of our halftone parameters. Then this tells us it's a 2x9, and then each one of the cells is labeled with the center X and Y, the cell size, and the image name. So that's the version 1.05, and it adds support for exploding MINSERTs, and it also adds support for processing the polygon boundary if it's built up of multiple parts or it has an inner and outer section. Thank you.